Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode on the Bussin with the Boys Spring Tour. As always, we are brought to you by Chevrolet. Chevrolet is a trusted company that has been innovating for the last 100 years. Up to now, most electric vehicles have been either too expensive, too small, or too limited in capabilities for most people. Chevrolet is committed to making EVs available for all Americans. There is a growing network of public charging stations. There are over 1,900 certified Chevy EV dealerships. Chevy has a convenient ways to research and shop EVs online. EVs for everyone, everywhere. Boys, welcome to the show.
Appreciate y'all having us. Appreciate you.
I don't know if you guys watch the show very often, but anytime we have ads, I'm not a great reader. I didn't get into the University of Michigan because of my academics.
Yeah.
So when I read, it usually doesn't go that well. So I appreciate you guys seeing greatness right there.
100%.
How are we feeling today for the spring game?
Feeling good.
Yeah?
Good, yeah.
What are your expectations? What were your expectations going into spring practice as far as getting better as a player?
Shoot, my expectations, I was an incoming freshman, so I was just like trying to learn a lot. So I didn't know where it was going to take me, but I started picking up a little faster. And yeah, like I'm happy where I am now. Just got to keep growing.
Because you had a lot of adversity going in high school, right?
Yeah, it was wild.
What was your process like coming to Arizona State before you were committed to Florida? Am I right?
Yeah.
Saying that you're committed to Florida. Obviously, there was a big story about you and massive NIL deals.
Yeah.
And then now coming here, which from my understanding, there's not really any NIL deals going on.
Yeah.
What was your thought process in that whole thing going through that?
Yeah, my thought process, it was a little rough because I didn't understand it at first. You know, there was a lot of question marks going on. But honestly, how I ended up here, you know, my dad, you know, played here like 94 through 98 or somewhere around there. So like I always grew up around the program, you know, this was like the first college team I knew. You know, I was just, you know, figuring it out and it just meant more to be here. And that's why like Coach Dillingham, he's an Arizona guy. Like it just like he's trying to fill the room with people who want to be here. So
what happened at Florida?
Yeah, so what happened at Florida was
everybody knows the headlines.
Yeah, everybody knows the headlines. But
from your perspective.
From my perspective, I mean, it was you know, it's just new to everybody. It's new to a lot of people. So
when you say new, you're talking about the NIL stuff, all the money flowing and everything else.
Yeah, and you know, it's just it's new to everybody. So, you know, you got a lot of people, you know, included in there. So, I mean, it's hard to explain, but like
on the surface level, it seems like reading articles. You had a lot of money on the table, close to $14 million. And essentially, when you signed, they didn't actually have that money. And then that's when you decided, this isn't what you guys said it was going to be. That's when you decided to ask for getting out of your commitment. On the surface, like reading from a third, like
right.
the outside looking in.
Right. I think a lot of that just comes into trust, you know, all that stuff aside, you know what I mean? So, you know, when you're playing for somebody, you got to try to, you know, you got to trust everything around you. And it just came down to trust, and that's why I ended up here, to be honest.
Just interesting because you passed up a lot of money from probably a lot of programs.
Yeah.
That is an interesting financial decision to make when you were in high school and you're seeing the possibility of $14 million.
Yeah.
Brother, I would shit my pants. Like there were no NIL deals at all. Like when we played in college, we bring up the same thing all the time. It's like we could get a bagel but no cream cheese. Like all the NCAA rules were just wild, and things just seem like they're the Wild West right now.
Yeah.
And they come here in this program, I like both of you to speak on it. Like ASU historically has not been one of those programs that are, you know, a Nebraska, an Alabama, a Michigan type thing. What was the draw for both of you? Obviously, your dad playing here, and then where do you think this program can get to in your times being here in college?
Yeah, shoot. In my honest opinion, like Tempe, like this is a big recruiting tool, you know. So like you win here, like you can keep it going, and like who wouldn't want to live out here, you know? While
100% agree with that.
Winning the Pac-12, you know what I mean? So like this is definitely a place you can win, and I'm sure you guys know like. There's certain programs that can get to that. You know, there's some programs that like, you know, won't keep going. But I think this is a place that we can win and it'll keep going, become a tradition.
How about you, Jordan? What made you want to come all the way to AZ from Louisiana?
Yeah, man. I spent a lot of time out here growing up. This is where my dad did his off-season stuff, you know, whenever I was coming up. So I spent a lot of time in the area, was familiar with it. There were players in my position room that looked like me. You know what I'm saying? I'm an undersized guy. So it was big to me that I was going to a place where they played people that were my size. You know what I'm saying? So I knew that wouldn't be a factor in deciding who was going to get on the field, who wouldn't. And then outside of that, I just love Tempe, bro. I love how close I am to Scottsdale. I love everything that this area has to offer, you know, as far as, you know, social life, you know what I'm saying, the academic opportunities I had with the Cronkite School and all that stuff. So it was really a easy decision, no-brainer for me.
What kind of edge do you feel like you have? Because I got to play with your dad for, I think, just a year. But kind of being under his wing growing up, I feel like I've known you because I've watched when Ryan would put out all those videos of all the training he was doing with all those guys. You were obviously in him a lot. You had a fro at the time, moving around, great feet. But what kind of edge do you feel like you've had coming into the college level, like having a father like Ryan Clark?
Man, it was everything. You know, it really is everything. In high school, man, my dad had me up at 4:30, 5 o'clock before school working out. And I leave there and I go to practice. And then after practice, I'm right back at the gym after school. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just schedules like that. He kind of gave me the blueprint. So now whenever I'm doing the work that is to some people difficult, you know what I'm saying, or hard, it's what I've been doing my entire life. It's the norm. So, you know, he's prepared me in really every way that he possibly could to, you know, excel at this level.
Was there a level of resistance when he was waking you up at 5 a.m.
Yes.
and you're seeing all the guys in high school? Because we had Christian McCaffrey on here, and he was basically telling us a similar story about his dad. They were like no sweets. They had to go be in bed at 7:30.
Grounded if you got tackled by your jersey.
Yeah, tackled by your jersey. You're literally grounded. And obviously at the time he hated it, but now he obviously sees there's proof in the pudding. Like, how was that? When did you start to realize, like, oh, if I keep doing this stuff, it's going to pay off?
Yeah, man. I'll tell a story. I was in my jamboree my sophomore year. I had missed like 2 or 3 tackles. And if there's one thing that my dad did when he played, it was he hunted, bro. Like, he was a banger. So I missed 3 tackles, and I seen him stand up in the stands, and I already knew he was mad. And the next day, bro, he woke me up, and he brought out his Super Bowl helmet and his pads. And we did Oklahoma's for like an hour, bro.
No, bro.
Bro, legitimately.
An hour.
Like, lined up across from each other, like 5 yards away from each other, and just ran into each other for like an hour. And I got yelled at, cussed out, like everything. And I was mad. I went home crying. Like, I was hurt. But
How old were you?
sophomore in high school? How old is that?
Right.
15?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about 15, yeah.
How old are you now?
21.
About
Yeah.
6 years ago?
Yeah.
Man, that is so funny.
You know, hey, you know RC
I was
was
just thinking RC.
in that bedroom that night before he woke him up, just like, this motherfucker's going to
But I will say this, whether it was walkthroughs, jog-throughs, anything, even like being in the linebacker room, our linebacker coach would even point out Ryan because when he was getting longer in the tooth and getting aged, something that he was always persistent at and professional at was like he always took angles and worked his angles every day. And I'm sure you've talked to enough old heads that play with him, but he really was like that until basically he died out of the league. No T's and P's of boy, we all die, but
everyone dies. Everyone perishes.
everyone dies. But
eventually.
he truly, like, I mean, he's a pro. He was a pro's pro. You have that as an old man. Shout out RC. That's my only shout out I'm gonna give you on our platform, brother.
He gave you a whole bunch when he came on the show.
I know. I love Uncle RC. I'm sure. Did you live out there in Virginia when he was out there in Washington?
Bible studies? Oh, the
Yeah,
Bible
I was gonna
studies,
say.
yeah. No, I
I'm
remember.
sure you were out there with the orange chicken. We get Cheesecake Factory. Hell yeah, bro.
Hey, easy now.
Sorry,
Get fired up at
But
that
those
food.
are some good vibes, man. Those
Yeah.
are good times. And Ryan always hosted. I learned a lot with Ryan with like the IVs and massage therapists. And when we came out to Arizona, like going over what was it, PEP?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he hooked a lot of his teammates, a lot of us up with his people for being in the league so long. So
Did he introduce you to NAD and all that?
no, NAD. First time I heard about NAD was out here with Bobo.
Yeah, in Nashville.
Yeah, in Nashville. Yeah, not out here in Arizona, but
Yeah.
out in Nashville was the first time I'd ever heard of NAD. But all this stuff with the IVs and everything like that, I feel like I was always surrounded by some good vets like Ryan who come in and they would always open the door, but hey, come over, get work here, get work there, have stuff set up for everybody. He was always one of them.
When your dad took you out on that fateful morning and did Oklahoma drill,
That's so
did
funny.
he still have it, or was
bro,
he
he
taking you out?
Yeah, I was getting messed up the whole time.
Yeah.
Bad. Yeah, it was
It was
violent,
bad.
bro. Yeah.
He had his Super Bowl helmet on.
Yeah, he had a Super Bowl. He literally had the helmet he wore in the Super Bowl, bro. Had it
I
on.
picture him pulling it out of like the glass case.
Yeah.
Like,
Open it up, getting out real careful,
Yeah.
wiping it down
We're
real
gonna learn how to
fast.
tackle today.
He ordered
Yeah.
a practice jersey that looked like my high school practice jersey with like a number on it and everything. Yeah.
Damn.
Yo,
I
yeah,
love this.
bro.
that is
story, bro.
hilarious. So after that day, what lesson did that teach you?
Don't miss tackles.
Don't miss tackles.
Yeah, don't miss tackles.
How are you at tackling now?
think I'm pretty good. You
Yeah?
asked my teammates, but I think I'm pretty good.
That's not the way your dad would answer that question. We had him on the bus, and we were talking about Derrick Henry, who we were talking about before the podcast, and he was saying that he would stand Derrick up in the hole.
Not gonna lie, bro. I think he would literally die trying. Like literally, like he would crash. He is willing to die to do that. So I believe him.
Do you believe he would do it?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't think so? We're talking you can't. I don't know why we're getting into this again. The majority of defensive players that would have a 0 place to go lane against Derrick, you're going to get Derrick to the ground.
Yeah, but the way you're phrasing it, what about you're in open space? He breaks a hole. He's coming up. He's coming right at you.
Now we're changing the
Different
goalposts
tackle.
again. Like, yeah, we're changing. We're getting into this exact same conversation.
Yeah. You think he would Robert Spillane Derrick?
You talking about Ryan?
Yeah.
Dog, Ryan threw his body. Yeah, like I'm not.
I've never seen him. I've never seen
You need
him
to
play
watch
like
the
that.
Ryan. You need to type in Ryan Clark highlight. I'm not saying he's like the hardest hitter to ever come, like he's some Sean T or anything like that. But I mean, yeah, Ryan is would have been willing to risk his life to win in the hole.
God, you gotta love that, man.
I mean, Willis McGahee,
yeah.
he wasn't like, it's not like he was seeing him, but just, yeah, go watch some Ryan Clark tape. I mean, he brought the boom. I mean, he didn't play just 13 years, undrafted, just, I don't know, floating out there. You know what I mean?
Something wrong with bro, for sure.
He said
Something wrong with him.
Something wrong with bro.
Really?
Yeah, something wrong with him.
Jaden, how have you been acclimating?
Yeah, I've been acclimating pretty good. Like, I think living in Tempe makes it a little easier, you know, being from California, like it's not much different. I love it out here. Like, I don't even miss home at all. Like, I'm not even going back for summer, like no breaks or nothing.
Yeah.
I'm staying out here.
Got it out here.
Yeah, nah, like you got everything you need out here. A lot of resources, a lot of like good networking. You know, a lot of good networking.
Hey, I've been out here in Tempe. I remember coming out here and visiting from Michigan. I know what the resources you're talking about. Good for you.
What was it like with Coach D? You talk about trust levels and everything else. What was it about him that brought you here? Because you know, listen, everybody's gonna listen and hear about you passing up 14, probably everywhere down to $8 million that you're passing up from all these different schools to come play for nothing in Arizona State. What was it about Coach D and the staff? Like, what? I know your dad played out here, but that trust level, talk about that.
No, yeah. So like a big thing too with me coming here was, you know, I noticed what it was before, like as far as like the NIL stuff, and I was like, you know, it was making me realize what's really important, you know, because and what really like made me happy, you know, and going through all that stuff, like it didn't make me, you know, it was just making things worse and worse. So I was like, need to go somewhere.
Was that stressful? Yeah,
it was bad. Like it was bad. So I had to go somewhere where it meant more to me, and where I could trust everybody in the building. And so Dilly recruited me at Oregon, my like end of sophomore year, whole junior year, and I almost committed to Oregon. And Dilly told me like, he's like, just go take your visits, like make sure like this is the place you want to be. Like he always like looked out, like not even if it was in his favor. When I was committed other places, I was asking him like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And he was like one of the few coaches I had that relationship with. So when I got my release, like I kind of knew, you know, I knew where I was gonna end up going, because like, yeah, that's somebody I trust. He never really lied to me, like ever. Always kept it pretty real. So yeah,
that's cool, man.
He's a guy that seems like he has really like an incredibly good energy.
Yeah, like
he's
he's
a high energy dude. We were
Yeah.
walking through the cafeteria. He was yelling at guys from across the hall. Just like seems like a dude that's like young enough to still like
exactly
relate with you guys.
Exactly.
I know we have to wrap it up right around 15 minutes right now, but just kind of like a two-parter, like from an Arizona State standpoint, where do you guys see the expectation for you guys going into this year? And then where do you think you can get to by the end of your careers here?
Yeah. You want to go first? Go ahead.
Just for this year, man, the sky's the limit. You know what I'm saying? Just with the new energy that we have in the building and the new guys that we brought in, you know, getting kids like Jaden here, man, the talent that we have here, and the opportunities that we have as far as our schedule this year, I think that we're gonna shock a lot of people, and we're gonna win a lot of football games, and I think we're gonna be the beginning of a dynasty here with Coach Dillingham. And for me, I just wanna win football games. That's all that's important to me. Individual accolades don't really matter too much. You know, I want to play good ball always, but what I want is for this place to be return to the top. You know what I'm saying? I want to be top 4, top 5 again, like they were some years ago. I want to do that stuff. I want to bring that energy back. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think like, you know, to piggyback on what he was saying, you know, just winning, you know, how important that is. You kind of see like how important it is to everybody on the team too, like just with the energy coming in. So I think this year, you know, plans to win, you know, win as much games as possible. And really this year will set the tone for the years after that and just build from there. And I think this program like could be playing for Pac-12 championship. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it happened this year, and definitely not, you know, the next couple of years on top of that. Especially with the older guys, they come in, like, set the tone, like, no egos, you know, helping a lot of the younger dudes out. And that always shows a lot about a team, you know, because been on, like, some team with individuals, you guys, you can't win like that no matter how talented you are. So, and Coach is big on, like, tradition, you know, and having a culture, you know, so he's definitely trying to bring that back here. And, like, yeah, I think sky's really the limit. Like, I'm not even just saying that, like, we'll shock some people.
We appreciate you guys, man. I do want to know when was Arizona State in the top 5?
Yeah.
Whenever they played Notre Dame that year, they lost to Oregon State in the last game of the season. But it was
I'm
top 5.
Just checking.
They said back to they said back to the top. I was thinking to myself,
Yeah, I know.
You can fact check it.
All right.
You fact check that.
It actually happened.
Hey, appreciate you guys, man.
2014? 2014, yeah.
You guys ranked what? Okay, so not top. You did ask top.
But that's what he's talking. He's like, he's trying to get him back in them.
Back to the top.
Back in those
conversations. Back in that conversation.
100%.
Hey, we appreciate you guys, man.
Thank you guys for coming on.
Yeah, man.
As always, fellas, subscribe, rate 5 stars. Big hugs, tiny kisses. Thank you.